Hello learners, this is Habiba with Excel with me. If you like the video, please do like, share, subscribe and comment below. Let's start today's class, that is research in education, with the topic types of tools. We have discussed in the previous class about rating scale, attitude scale, and we have started with questionnaire. We have discussed about questionnaire in detail and types of questionnaires, structured questionnaires, closed form, open-ended responses, unstructured questionnaires, and now we are going to discuss about characteristics of a good questionnaire. The characteristics of a good questionnaire can be analyzed by its purpose, language, frame of reference, arrangement of questions, length of the questionnaire, and form of response. Let's understand in detail what are all these. First, with the purpose. A good questionnaire must serve two purposes. Number one, it must translate the objectives of an investigation into specific questions, the answers to which will provide the data necessary to test the hypothesis and explore the area defined by the objectives. Obviously, when we are doing any research, we will frame some objectives and also we will frame some hypotheses, tentative solutions. Now, what is our purpose of doing all this? To test whatever things we are doing, we have to test the hypothesis whether it is correct, false or true. When we can do with the help of the subjects and with the questionnaires and with the responses and results, whatever results we will get, we will test those results, and also we will test the hypothesis with that result. So what happens here? Whatever objectives are framed, whichever investigation we are doing related to specific questions, whatever the answers may be, they will provide the data necessary to test the hypothesis. Each question should relate the corresponding objective so that the response obtained can be analyzed and interpreted accordingly. Obviously, whatever question we are framing related to our question, that should relate the corresponding objective. Whatever responses we will obtain, obviously we analyze and then we interpret. The research objectives and specifications of the data required must precede the construction of questionnaire. Obviously, whatever the objectives and specification, whatever data required, they will be preceded by the construction of questionnaire. First, we will construct the questionnaire and will proceed for further things. Now, secondly, related to the purpose, the questionnaire must motivate the respondents to communicate the required information. Obviously, whatever questionnaire we are framing, if the respondent is not interested, then we will not get the result whatever we need. So, that question should communicate to the questionnaire, and whatever information we want, whatever response, perfect response we want, that kind of questions we should prepare. It is essential to include a courteous and carefully constructed covering letter to explain the purpose and importance of the study. Obviously, whoever are the respondents, just we will go and give the questionnaire, they will not understand. What we have to do? We have to give the covering letter. What is the purpose and what is the importance of our study? It should explain. The letter should explain. The covering letter should assure the respondent that delicate information will be held in strict confidence. That whatever information we are taking, we will not leak to anyone. That will be in strict confidence. That should assure. That is the second purpose. Now, the secondly, language. The language of a good questionnaire should be concise and directed towards producing uniformity of understanding among the respondents. Obviously, whatever language we are using for the questionnaire, a good questionnaire, it should concise, it should not be vague. Whatever question, the respondent should not get bored of reading big questions. The question should be concise and directed towards our producing uniformity of understanding. Then the vocabulary should be simple and within the easy grasp of the least intelligent of the group under study. Whatever group we are taking, mixed type if we are taking, we should concentrate on each level of the respondent. So vocabulary should be such that everybody should catch that question. Now the syntax, that is proper order of words in a phrase or sentence, should be clear and straightforward. That obviously, then only the respondent will give you the correct response. Then vague phrases and expressions should be avoided, obviously. Then technical expression should be used only if the inquiry is directed to a select group which is well versed in the technical language used. Obviously, if you are targeting any technical things and technical words, that the targeted group should understand those. That kind you can give technical expressions to those groups. Then proverbs and quotations should be avoided. Obviously, everybody will not understand the proverbs and quotations. So, precise, concise, simple, accurate question should be there. Then, subjective words such as bad, good, fair and the like do not lend themselves to quantitative measurements nor qualitative analysis unless they are used for comparisons on a rating scale, obviously. Then the third one is frame of response. The respondent's frame of reference influences his or her answers. Obviously, that reference definitely will influence. Complex questions that require the respondent to go through several steps of reasoning before answering are undesirable and have often resulted in misleading information. For example, in a question like, should study centers modernize their teaching? The word modernize may have different connotations for different people. That's why we have to keep in our mind everything. Complex questions should not be there, and also the words which we are choosing, they might have several meanings or people will take in their own perceptions. So we should be careful related to that. Now, questions on controversial issues should be broken down into components so that the researcher can determine the respondent's feelings about various aspects of the problem, including those which he or she refuses to comment upon. Obviously, whatever controversial questions are there, they should be cut down, broke down, so that researcher can determine the respondent's feelings about various aspects of the problem. A series of specific questions is needed so as to uncover degrees of intensity of feelings or conviction. So, if you want to take the responses thoroughly, a series of questions should be given. For example, questions to understand people's attitude towards the reservation policy have to be broken into issues like quality, equity, equal opportunities, etc. The required answers should be within the informational domain of the respondents. So whatever answers should be in the domain of the respondent's information. For example, a question, do you read Times, may not bring the desired response, as many respondents may not know about this magazine. Obviously, everybody will not know about the Times magazine. So, the questions, whatever we are asking, it should target the group with the proper information. The length of the questions and statements used should be governed by a reliable estimate of the respondent's comprehension level. Now, the fourth one, arrangement of questions. The arrangement or ordering of questions should receive special attention. Obviously, if the respondent is reading the questions, the question should be such that after each question, the respondent should be very motivated and interested towards answering the next series of the questions. It should appear logical to the respondents. The questions placed first in the questionnaire should be the easiest to answer. If in the beginning only, if we give the difficult questions, they will lose the interest of attending next question. Then interest generating. Obviously, just now I told you the question should be such that interest generating question should be asked at the beginning. A proper sequence of questions proceeds from the general to specific, from simple to complex ones, from those that will create favorable attitude to those that may be somewhat delicate or sensitive. Now the fifth one is length of the questionnaire. A questionnaire should not be longer than necessary. Obviously, the total number of questions must not be too large to tire or bore the respondent. For example, 30 questions, 20 questions, 40 questions, that's it. Otherwise, if you give 100 questions, the respondent will not have any interest to give those answers. If too many questions are asked and the respondent becomes tired, the questions at the end of the series may not be well answered, obviously. If it is necessary to include a large number of questions, it is advisable to have separate questionnaires. Obviously, two questionnaires, one questionnaire can be split into two, so that the respondent will, after some time, that questionnaire will be given to those respondents. Now the last one is the form of response. The form in which the responses are recorded must be integrated with the form of the questions. There should be no hesitation in asking for responses in different forms in the same questionnaire, since it is frequently found that one form is better than another for questions about different aspects of the same subject. Obviously, whatever the form is used in which responses are recorded, they must be integrated with the form of the question. No hesitation should be there before asking the responses in different forms. Questions requiring answers like yes or no are subject to least bias. These responses are easy to tabulate. Obviously, if questions are yes, no, easy to tabulate. These responses are very easy. Now, however, they do not always yield sufficient information on the subject under study. Obviously, in every field, we cannot take this yes or no questions. So, in such cases, the use of multiple choice responses is desirable. 4 choices are given, then answer will be there. Now, questions that present multiple choices to the respondent are effective when the choices are few and easy to follow. So we come to the end of this session. We will continue with the next types in the next class. If you like the video, please do like, share, subscribe and comment below. Thanks for your attention and time. Happy learning.